Uh, I purposely not designed this talk to be more on the spiritual side. But of course, it contains all the spiritual as well as the more science, the science that is there in there. I want everyone to know what is there, because Vedas are normally considered as spiritual books or spiritual knowledge. But there's much, much more which we need to know, and which we do need in this life. So before that, I want to tell you, I'm so happy to be here and once again connected to the School of Ancient Wisdom. I remember the first day that I came here was at Manise's behest. I was at a friend's office where, when we spoke about the school, she said she's a good friend of mine, and she dialed a number and handed over the phone to me. That was a Saturday. And Manise asked me to come the next day. She said, we're having a program. You come there. I just tried to get out of it. I said, oh, maybe another time. She insisted. She said, no, we are having a program and I will be there tomorrow. I want you to be there. And that was it. We went to the school and we stayed there till evening after tea. When we were about to come, we were talking. We came to know about this Thursday Sathsangs. And those words still ring in my ears. She said, Beti, ana jana rakh. And from that, the next Thursday onwards, we were regular. Every Thursday at a flat in Rest House Road. And today I'm glad to be here again. Thank you, Sajani, for having me over here. So now we start with the topic. The topic is Manual for the Soul. Manual for the Soul came out in me when there was a group of ladies. These were Britishers and American ladies, and they said, oh, alas, we don't come with a owner's manual. And I told them, I said, of course we do come with owner's manual, because there's everything there in Vedas. And Vedas are not only for us, Vedas are for everyone. They were for the whole world. So after that, I read that Bhagavad Gita also says that it is the instructional manual for the world. And the Vedas were directly manifested on onto humanity, for the sake of humanity, onto a few spheres. And these came, like, there comes this thing too about when these came about. They came about before the creation was there. Before man came on earth, the Vedas came on. They were given to 4 rishis. They were manifested on them. There was no language. There was no spoken language, no written language. And those rishis, they further passed on to humankind later on as it happened. And they, without any differentiation between men and women or man to man, any caste creed, there was no caste creed or as such a color, and no, without any differentiation, they were handed over to everyone. We came here as super intelligent beings. We didn't come from monkeys, as it is said. We didn't evolve from monkeys, because the monkeys are still there and we are a different species. So even Maharishi Mahesh Yogi has said that as we have constitutions for the nations, and the nations are governed by the rules of the constitutions, so we are governed by the rules of nature, which find expression in the Vedas. Now here I want to tell that we have all kinds of science. It is said that it is not there in the Vedas, then it doesn't exist. And it is there in seed form. When it was enjoined upon mankind to study, to understand, to develop it and use it for the good of humanity. So we still find the people know, no one has read the Vedas right now, but science is developing more and more. They say, you know, we are given the intellect as well. So we've used our intellect, those are the tools, and other things, I'll come back to them. And we have made much advance in science. But they say if we see anything in the world that we can find in the Vedas also. Like we've seen, NASA, sometime back, NASA had said that the sound of the sun is Om. And I read a few days back, I read in one of the Chandogya Upanishad that the same thing, the sound of sun is Om. So these are strewn all over in all the Vedas, but Rig Veda is the main, this thing called science. And the language came from Vedas. That language was Sanskrit. Sanskrit was, and there was no written language. So the Vedas came down through the oral tradition. And that is how we still have them. And we still have the oral tradition. I went to 2 pathshalas where they are teaching, they're keeping the boys for 10 years. And in those 10 years, in one pathshala, they learn Yajurveda through and through, how to pronounce it, how to sing it, and all of that. And the other pathshala had boys who were learning Rig Veda as well as Yajurveda by heart. So that is how it's coming down. So we haven't lost, I mean, we have lost most of it due to those fires in the 3 universities, but which raged for 7 days. But we still have some bits and quite a bit. The West has acknowledged it. They are using it, mainly Germany. Germany, I came to know a few years, 3-4 years back, that there's a boy who's doing research in Germany through the Vedas. And I'll talk about what he researched, I'll talk about that later. And so similarly, I'll tell you how they have most of our books with them, most of our literature, books and scientific things. My cousin, who was a rear admiral in the Navy, he was in England, he and his wife, and they attended an ambassador's dinner. There, one German lady told my sister-in-law that you people had the knowledge, now we have, and you have to buy it from us. We never sell knowledge, even now we don't sell knowledge. The Gurukuls and all are free. We teach them free. Everything is free for them. Their food, their cooked clothes, everything is free for them. So the knowledge is not to be sold. That is what our culture is. Now, as I said, the West, we see that America has got one university, it's on Sanskrit University. NASA chief wants to talk Sanskrit whenever he can. And NASA used Sanskrit. They found the use of Sanskrit in the astronauts, this thing. They tried for 20 years. They tried through different languages. What happened when they communicated from there? Everything came in garbled form. But when they used Sanskrit, ultimately, it came as it is. Because Sanskrit is a language where you can put a word anywhere, it means the same. Whereas what happened in other languages, the meaning changed because it came, the words came in different order. So they couldn't make out what it was. Again, NASA is going to have their 6th generation and 7th generation computers based on Sanskrit. one will come out, the sixth thing will come out on, by 2025, and the seventh generation by 2035. So that is the importance of Sanskrit. Also, like in Britain, a month back in the newspaper, regular newspaper, I read that the British government wants their students to talk in Sanskrit. Why? Because when we talk in Sanskrit, we are using everything in the mouth, all the teeth, the various parts of the mouth, the palate, the lips, everything. That is, they further go and connect with some other organ and they keep them healthy. Also, the person who speaks Sanskrit, it becomes more intelligent. This is what I read by the British, from the British thing. And recently, just recent. Then I have known from much earlier, like 50 years and back, that there was a school in Ireland which were teaching only Sanskrit. Then there is that St. James or something in England. That school also teaches Sanskrit, and they have made it compulsory for the students to study Sanskrit from 6th to 11th grade. Then in Netherlands, they have made Gita compulsory after 6th standard. So that way, and then I saw, that is of course beside the point, okay. So that way now the West has also recognized, and I tell everyone that in the next 10 years, that is going to take up, because people are finding the utility of that and the immense knowledge it has in its literature. Plus, it's the most scientific language. They say it's a zero error language. And the general perception is that it's a very difficult language. It is not. I'm 70 today. Today means I've just completed my 70th year. And the day I was 70, I got my degree in COVID, which is equal to BA. So if I can study at this age, I think everyone can study. Or at least encourage your children to do that, because later on we'll find again that Germans saying that now you have to buy it from us. So we shouldn't be lagging behind. So they have given us the knowledge, the Vedas have given us the knowledge, and God, of course, it has come from the Supreme Being, and He has given us the intellect. He has given us the mind which is so powerful that they say we don't use even a fraction of it. It is so powerful that it can change the world order. Of course, we don't reach that stage. We never go that high up to be able to do so, but it has that potential. And of course, those things are also given in the Vedas, how to reach there. But today, in order to make it interesting, I'm more focusing on the science that is in there, because that is lesser known. And what kind of science, it was mind-boggling for me also when I went through it. So the intellect is given to us, the brain is given to us, the discerning power is given to us, and a small voice is given to us, that little voice that tells us from right to wrong. Of course, that will come elsewhere, but these are the tools that are given to us, plus the resources. The resources come by way of nature. The trees were already there before mankind came. So the tree gives us so many things. Firstly, wood, that is generally known. Then the sap of various trees gives us rubber, which is used so much in industries, at home, and everywhere. The sap gives us hing, which we use in our food. It gives us gum. Gum is again, we use it for various other purposes, plus it is also used for health. like that. Then there's sap coming from the smaller plants, like madar and others. Of course, some of them are poisonous, but some of them are very useful to us. Then, of course, the leaves come of use, and it is given, all of this is given, then that comes in Atharveda about how the plants are useful to us, what part is useful for what use. Now, I'll go to Rig Veda, start from there. Rig Veda has 10,552 verses, and it's plain science. Or everything, you will read here and there, and that will talk about other things, but it is science. And I have seen that. I've seen my mother's 2 books, big books, and there was Hindi translation, which said, if there's water here and Agni there, like that. So I just left it there. I was young that time. I said, oh, this is what the science they talk about. So a person who knows, who uses his intellect, whose bent of mind is that side, can use it to their, can make use of that. And like I said, that I have spoken about, if we find something, because nobody has read the Vedas and yet they have made scientific things. But when we go and see, somewhere we'll find it in the Vedas. Now, it teaches us about Dharma also. And these were given, this was given by the Rishi called Agni, the Rig Veda. And there, after that, we lost touch with our language. Even now, all our prayers are in Sanskrit, all our shlokas are in Sanskrit. We recite them every day for our prayers, but with no understanding at all of what we are reciting. So the Rishi who Rig Veda was manifested upon was Agni. Agni gave it further down to others as it came. And now, later on, we had people, bhashyakars, who made bhashyas. That is, they made it easier for people to understand. They brought them in simple Sanskrit. I must tell you, the Vedic Sanskrit is different from the normal Sanskrit. And nowadays, Sanskrit has become very easy. They are teaching, those Sambhashana Shivers are happening, where they teach you to speak in 10 days. The simple language that you can talk. And of course, you can build upon that. There's no need for learning grammar or anything. Grammar is the most difficult part of it. But there's no need. Like we learn any other language, similarly, we can learn to speak Sanskrit. So then, still it was in Sanskrit. Then in 19th century, Swami Dayanand, he wrote in simpler Sanskrit and in Hindi. So when it came in Hindi, then it was open to many more people. So most of us, many of us, of course not me, but many people came to know about them. Then comes Yajurveda. Yajurveda is also known as Karmakand. It has everything that all kinds of actions that we need to do in this world, like the relationship between a father and a son, and the relationship between our relationship with our parents, with our children, with society, with neighbors, with the administration, and the Raja with Praja, and how the Raja should pick up his ministers, and what should be his relationship with the chief army officer. All of that is there in Yajurveda. Of course, there is also written about puja patan, that also is there. Because it is the total thing that we need in this world. And it is not that we cannot attempt to reach God while living in this grasp life. I know one Swamiji, he was the owner of Milap Urdu paper from in Delhi. He was into it. He later took sannyas, but his children, they were big industrialists. His daughters, his sons, and son-in-laws and daughter-in-laws, everyone was into meditation and yoga. That time, now yoga has another meaning, but yoga meant the sadhana yoga, the meditation. Meditation also has got another, it has acquired another meaning, 10 minutes of meditation. It was not that. It was samadhis are taken for how many hours? I know of another yogi, when he was learning, he and his friend, they were roaming around in Himalayas, and they met a yogi who asked them, how long is your samadhi? They said 56 hours. Only that much? So you need so much more, and they hadn't reached anywhere, but their samadhi was that long. So these people, we had gone to Rishikesh, I and my mother and Tom Ends, and we were living with Swami Yogeshwaranand's under his care we were. And Anand Swamiji was also his disciple. He had taken sannyas from him. So his children had come straight from Japan. They were on, and I'm talking of 1961, that long back. They had come straight from Japan, the son and the daughter-in-law and the grandson, 20-year-old grandson. They all came to attend, to be there for 10 days to learn something over there. So it's not that they were running their business. I know another business family over here. They are one of the few top industrialists of India, but they are running their businesses, multiple businesses, but they lead their life, their personal life is different. That life is different. And I heard someone say, he said, you can have Mercedes if your status or something asks you to do, but don't get attached to it. You enjoy that, but don't get attached to it. So that how easy it has been made, but then it is also difficult because we keep getting attached to things, and our desires, they find no this thing. The desires keep on multiplying. Yajurveda has 1,975 mantras. Now we come to Samved. And Yajurveda was written by Vayu. The Rishi was called Vayu. Samved is the way that is called the Upasana Kand. It has 1,875 mantras. It is in musical form, and it has more of it has more of arts like music. Our music is also designed so scientifically, the Saptaswaras and the others, and how they are bound in those meters. So, and each thing takes us to God, whether it's dance or whether it's music or other things. So Sam is Upasana Kand, as it is known. Sam means he. Am means the soul. Sam. So there is a communion between the two. Now we come to Atharveda. Atharveda is the Rishi for Samved was Angira. Atharveda Rishi is Aditya, and and it has 5,977 verses. Atharveda contains things about Aushadhi, about plants, what plant gives us what, and about not only plants, even the minerals. Minerals give us, minerals are also used at Aushadhi and in other things, like the quartz. Quartz we use for, now we know, it's for watches and all. How pendulum thing is there. And other minerals that are found there, they are also useful. How useful the alloys, they talk of, the Vedas talk of 16 kinds of alloys. Alloys are made by different minerals that are found in the earth. When I said resources, the resources are trees, as I said, and then we have in the ground, we find the water is one of them. In the ground, we find ore of all kinds. And Atharvaveda also tells us, it gives us the thing how to get the ore out, or how to get the metal out of the ore. So those methods are given in Atharvaveda, and these are more or less they are defined how to do it. Then there's beautiful this thing about how to get water, how to know the groundwater. The groundwater, earlier we used to have that fellow who would come with a triangular kind of thing and locate, he would find, oh, okay, this is where the water, we find the water. But now, now what I read is if there's a grassy plot and there's a small patch which is dry, underneath you'll find water. Similarly, if there's a bald patch, bald plot, and somewhere you find a grassy plot, spot, underneath that you'll find water. Earlier I had known that there's something to do with the anthill and the tree and the distance between them, and where in between there you find water, plus there's something, there are other means also. So like that, Atharvaveda has this kind of things. It is called it has Tantra, Mantra and Yantra, all three of them. And it is, the Yajurveda is called the Karma Kand, and this is called the, what is it, something or other Kand. When it comes to me, I'll tell you. So from here, now I'll take you to the science that is there in Vedas, and I'll read it out. I've copied it down. I'll read it out to you, what all it is. That is the most interesting part. I don't know, I found it interesting. I don't know how you would find it. So Rig Veda says, with the help of bipolar forces, you should employ telegraphic apparatus. Now, just pay attention to the words. Bipolar forces is Ashwins, it is given in bracket. So it must be the Ashwin Kumars that we have. We know that they are always together. So I don't know what it means over here. So the Ashwins must be doing that, must be the bipolar forces. Or the bipolar forces is what are called Ashwins. It could be that. You should employ telegraphic apparatus made of good conductor of electricity. It is necessary for efficient military operations, but should be used with caution. Look at the words, telegraphic apparatus, all this is given there. So this is what we need to come out from there. There's so much of knowledge lying there. Look at the architecture. What beautiful architecture is there. And it is mind-boggling. We don't understand how people of yore did all that. That Kailash temple, which is built upwards down. How could they be so perfect to know where to carve what? And not only the sculptors. See, there is I don't remember the name of the temple, but there's a temple which is bound by Rashis. So every Rashi, every month, the sun falls on one pillar, then the second, and the third, according to the Rashi or according to the month it moves. So isn't it scientific? Would we call it scientific? And isn't it amazing that they knew at that time? And these temples would have been made a few thousand years ago, not eons ago. So somewhere they must have learned, they must have had those gurus. Okay, now Rig Veda says there are many suns, 7 colors in the sun also it talks about. It talks about the electromagnetic field and conversion of mass and energy. Talks about the gravitational effect of solar system, makes the earth stable. When the axle of the earth does not get rusted, the earth continues to revolve on its axis and the axis. Then the science of time and its suitable natures described by Rig Veda. The science of time, here itself in one of the meetings in the School of Ancient Wisdom, one person named Hari from Bharat Gyan, Hari and his wife, they are doing intensive research from the ancient books and they are bringing it forth. Now they've made a few books on that. The last I spoke to him, they had made 9 books. I don't know how many more. And they have done extensive research. They go to those places and they do it. I mean, they find out, they match the writing and all of that they're doing. So he showed us, he was given the last 10 minutes in the school. He showed us in digital form, of time, concept of time. He told us why the day of Jupiter is smaller and all. That time we understood very well. Of course, now I don't remember what at all. So on the planets, Yajurveda says, these science is distributed, it's scattered all over. The others, somewhere it goes into the other Vedas also, but Rig Veda is the science Veda, is the Veda for science. And they say all the science you find is in Rig Veda. And this is in Yajurveda, it says the sun moves in its own orbit in space, taking along with itself the mortal bodies like Earth through force of attraction. And sun and whole universe are round, and moon is enlightened by the sun. Rig Veda and Atharva Veda also say a similar thing. Then on eclipse, say O sun, when you're blocked by the one whom you gifted your own light, that is the moon, then earth gets scared by sudden darkness. Then, it's the speed of light they talk of. Speed of light, amazing, is told to be 1.85016.169 miles per second. And in the 19th century, Michael and Morley discovered the velocity at 1.86,000 miles per second. So the Veda thing would be more, because it is to the point, to the last point of the decimal. It talks about origin of matter, cause and effect, because without cause, there's no effect. Then varieties of magnets, different kinds. Talks about the units and measurements. And I was reading, I wanted to write down, but there was so much already there, that they are talking about 1/8 of a grain of sand. And then that is equal to 1/8 the thing of a hair, like that it is given. So we have gone down so much. Even in time, we have gone to 10 more places after the second. There are names for them. Then types of lenses, elasticity, and on machines. Machine is defined as system for generation of energy. Just see the words. Through motion or continuous rotation of shafts, wheels, or wedges. In types of transport, this is again something to be noted. Ships ply on water. That time when there was nothing, this was said. Vehicles move on ground are chariots. Those moving in the sky are spaceships propelled by fire. On ships, it was said that no iron should be used for joining the planks in the bottom of the ships, as this exposes the ship to the influence of magnetic rocks in the sea, causing it to sink. And recently I read about Raja Bhoj, I think, he also ordered the same thing, that there should be no metal should be used at the bottom of the ship. 16 types of alloys I told you. On aeronautics, combat yarns, combat yarns. Now combat means it was envisaged that there will be combat. Then Stamban Yantra. Stamban Yantra is when it is the aeroplane has lost its this thing due to the wind. Then Stamban means make it steady. So that yantra they need to save it from being taken away by strong air currents. Saving it, another thing is saving it when it enters the 5th layer of the atmosphere. We haven't reached there yet. But as I was talking to one Acharya whom I've called here, we've got a big conference coming up. And I asked him to speak on science in Vedas. So I was talking to him because I said, yes, I'm speaking on this similar subject. And I told him about this. Of course, he's an Acharya, he knows. I am a layperson. He told me, yeah, they used to make the cloth. And I'd read about the cloth, but I didn't go further. I said, yes, tell me. Then he told me about that how it was done to save the aircraft. Then it went into the 5th layer in the atmosphere. Then they talk about the noise center silencers in the aircraft. Chemistry, there are many yantras. Yantras means the instruments. Instrument doesn't mean the small instruments, means those pots and what would we call, the crucibles, etc. For different chemicals, extraction of mercury. We are so scared of mercury these days, about the mercury in the mouth, the mercury fillings and all of that. But we never used these things. We used metal. Metals were used in medicines, but we used to purify them. We use low bhasam. Low is iron, but we make bhasam out of it. We don't use iron grains and just put it in a capsule and give. No. So this was extraction of mercury and purifying it. I've got a few books of my mother. Two books say how to purify mercury. It is used in many medicines as well as in agriculture. The university at Tirupati, there was a Mela, Sanskrit Mela over here. And then I found they had put it there, that how they use mercury in agriculture. Okay, now I told you about that boy who was doing research in Germany through our Vedas, on our Vedas. So his friend told me, and now I'm reading it out to you. In olden days, vimans were run on mercury, and after fueling once, there was no need to refuel them again. So mercury was used for that also. And what use? We didn't need to refuel it. Then there's caustic alkali. This is made by collecting lots of wood, a big pile of wood, and then there's some plant put on it, and it is burned. When it reduces to ashes, then that alkali is formed. Explosives are also dealt with, metallurgy, and crucible, as I told you, for purifying metals, and koshti yantra for extracting pure metals from ore. And that yantra, all the yantras, they have a specific length, width, height, the proportions are given. And metal and alloys like gold, brass, zinc, bronze, copper, lead, bell metal, iron, and steel, and classification of iron, different kinds of iron are given. Mathematics, we all know, zero, and about Pythagoras theorem. Then also how to, decimal is also our contribution, algebra too, and the value of pi, that was also given by us. Unit of angle measurement was also given. I mean, whatever time, whoever gave. There are 8 branches of Ayurveda. Ayurveda we generally know has come from there, but I'll read out what it is. Body treatment, it's ENT, it's surgery, it's toxicology, psychiatry, pediatrics. These are all defined like separately, not not as one, but as, in separate this thing. And treatment with chemicals, aphrodisiacs, and humors of body and mind, says blood flow, blood circulation, heart disease, cross-section of iris, plastic surgery. Even we had surgery for eyes. That is very well known. The Shushruta used to do that. Intestinal surgeries. Surgery was part of Ayurveda from then. Then there's mention of test tube babies. Rig Veda, it is given the 7th Adhyaya or whatever it is. It is given Agastya and Vishisht was test tube babies, and Kripa and Drona also were test tube babies. Pulse test is something which I have also learned. I and my mother, we used to wonder how do we do that? But there came an opportunity when they were teaching a few years ago, when the teaching that is, and in 4 days, I wondered how would they teach in 4 days. In 4 days, they taught us, and very well, you could make out. I didn't have patience to try it on, so I've forgotten it. But they had explained it so well how to see the pulse, how to test the pulse. My daughter also did that course, and she is using it with her patients. And I mean, it comes out correct when they go for tests further. This was the basic. The further on, there's another test, another pulse, this thing, which tells us about the future problems that we could get. That also can be found out from pulse. Like, you know, it's said that cancer, it doesn't give any symptoms. You know, it keeps going. And at the last stage, you come to know, okay, it's the 4th stage. Like, you know, I am more dealing with Ayurveda. I've written a book, and then I've put that our body can take lots of abuse. And that is the abuse, you know, we keep abusing it, till a time comes when it says so much and no more. And that becomes the last stage of cancer. And yet, I'll tell you, that again is treatable. It has happened to a person from Netherlands. He was given 3 months to live. He had finished with all his chemo, and that means so much more toxicity had gone in. But he went to alternate therapists in Netherlands itself. They asked him to have lots of haldi, turmeric, and lots of vitamin C, and whatever else they asked him. He said, I went vegetarian sometime back, a few years back. He said, I became totally vegetarian and all that. And he was fine. He lived 25 years after that. I think last year sometime he died. So, well, pathology, it is there. I think, I hope I'm not overgoing the time. Is it okay? Okay. So,
yes, madam. It's okay, yeah.
Okay. Then about veterinary science is also there, about botany, like osmosis, photosynthesis, grafting, treatment of trees, 3 doshas of trees. I came to know now that the trees also have 3 doshas. They have Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. And they have explained that the tall, small, thin, tall trees, they have, I think they have Vata, and how different trees, they are, like we have that prakriti. So those trees have that kind of prakriti. And trees can hear, smell, and have a sense of touch consciousness of the trees. I'll tell you a very interesting example. You know, I've got a small wall as soon as we enter home. Over there, I've kept a tall rubber plant. And I have a cutout. And there is a small thing protruding out where I'd kept another rubber plant. This was a small branching, it had branches. This one was straight, upright, straight. Probably these two used to communicate with each other. And one day my mother got that, this one put outside. She said, oh, it's not going to bloom inside, it may die. But it was used to the inside climate. It died outside. This fellow, it stopped, the one on top, he stopped growing. He didn't die. He didn't further move on. After 2 years, when I kept another plant down here, it started sprouting. It wasn't the same species. It was some other plant, but probably he found a friend there. It started sprouting. Same thing was I heard from, I think, Dr. Hans Dean. He came here to Manipal Center before it was put up. And there in one of the halls, he told us that he was coming from somewhere. It was so many miles away, and he thought of the plant in his study. He said, oh, it had to be watered. At that time, he said when he came, he checked, whatever time he thought of the plant, the electrodes made a sign. And that means the plant connected with him. Even if this is that telepathy. So that is about plant. And we've heard that if you sing to the plants, or if you go and talk to the plants, they thrive. Making rain in agriculture. I read that if Punarnava is a medicinal plant. I have known it as medicinal. But if you burn it, and the smoke reaches the clouds, it starts raining. My father-in-law has done it here in Bangalore, in Military Dairy Farms. He was the director here, and in Headball, when you come down the flyover, there it used to be on the left side, abutting the lake and further on. So there was no rains, and it was a 265 acres or something and they grew their this thing they had about 5,000-6,000 cows and buffaloes there. So they were using the feed over there. They were growing the feed, and there was no rain. So he called a Panditji, and they did this Havan. After the Havan, as soon as the Havan finished, it started raining. It rained. So this is also there. And another very, very important thing for these days is desalination of water. Now, what I'm going to read to you may not be of benefit, but I'll tell you something further. It says a mixture of Anjana, Mushta, Ushira. These are all names of medicines. Medicine means, what do we call? Okay, I'll leave it at medicine. Rajko, Kostaka, Amalaka, and Katakis added to well water. Now, here, carefully. By this, even the muddy, bitter, salty, and bad in taste and odor will become clean, tasty, and endowed with good qualities. Isn't it amazing? So this we can't do, but there are some seeds that are called Nirmali seeds. And there are other seeds that are drumstick seeds and tulsi. These also purify water. So I think I'm overshooting the time, am I? It's 7:30?
Yes, madam. Yeah.
Okay, so then we close it here. And thank you so much once again.